Hello everyone, how are you? We're out on another walk and talk, and this isn't meant to be something that is targeting or upsetting anybody by the means, but all those that know and watch my work and interviews on the Atlantic Underground podcast do know that our motto is to believe nothing and question everything. So today I want to put it out there for people to try and answer the questions that I have, or maybe the doubts I have, or try and give me an understanding more of where I'm going wrong. And I'm talking about religion. I'm not an atheist. I am quite spiritual, and I do work myself to try and connect to what I consider the source and try and find out why we're here and ask a lot of questions in regards to that. But the one thing that fascinates me is the unquestionable belief that many people do have. There's a nice breeze blowing through here. You may be hearing that on the video. But this unquestioning belief seems to me to have a lot of unanswered questions that if I was going to put my whole life and faith and belief into something, I would need a lot more proof. I would need something that really could show me, hey, look at this. It's undeniable. And that's the way that we should analyze life, and we should analyze everything around us in the same way that we analyze things on the podcast. My main thing that I always discuss and enter into, and I do have a lot of friends who are very deeply religious in many different beliefs, many different religions. And the one thing that I always discuss, and I never really get a straight answer, is about the Bible itself. Now, the Bible was written many, many thousands of years ago. And, you know, this Bible started off maybe in Aramaic, maybe in Hebrew, translated to Greek. Hey guys, how are you? Hello. It is. That's right. Yes, we are talking about religion. They know what we're talking about. So, Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, maybe into Latin, and then from Latin into English, and to many other languages which are spread around the world, taken on crusades, taken on missions, and shared with people in their language in other countries around the world. Now, to me, in a modern era, I'm trying to learn Spanish right now, and I'll use Google. And Google Translate is supposed to be, you know, the most modern, amazing way to translate things. And I'll put things in Spanish that come out with something completely different. And if people are here trying to talk to me in English, and they're using translators to go from Spanish to English, it kind of makes me laugh, because the stuff that comes out on the screen doesn't resemble what we're trying to talk about in that conversation. So really, you know, I have to question the actual translation of this. And not only the translation of it, but the fact that things were written in a series of events over periods of times based upon people's opinions and views. And I always consider that, you know, if I was walking along the road today and an incident happened. Let's say it's a car crash. And many months later, the insurance company wants to contact me as a witness, as well as other people that were there. The likeliness of our stories about the events that unfolded upon that day are probably going to be very different by perception from me and from the other people at the scene, the drivers of the other vehicles and anybody else that saw what went on. So we are reliant upon people, some who wrote what they believed they saw, experienced and happened many years later after the events happened, and this is their perceptions of what happened. So we cobble all these together in a language, translated multiple times, taken by a church, taken by somebody that wants to put their stamp on it, and then it's given to us. And it's also interpreted by the people who form the religions. So let's say you go to church, you've got somebody standing in front of you, all wise and wonderful, all knowing, because of course they're the ones who are chosen to read this text out to you, especially those lovely evangelists, the ones that say if you send them money, they can save you. Not like many other churches as well. We probably won't get into that. But you know, these people are there to interpret what they believe these texts are about and what these are meant to say and what you are meant to do based upon these texts, which is kind of incredible, really. Because it's like a game of Chinese whispers where the message, or from the original message, it's probably been diluted down that many times that when it does come to a point where the message is relayed, it's not actually the original message. And it always amazes me that people don't question this kind of thing. But then there's the whole message itself. You know, we've got a forgiving, loving, caring God that will send you to hell if you don't believe and worship in him as the Lord. But he does love you, of course. He does love you. You know, don't be worried, because if you do worship him and you do follow him, he will love you and he will give you everything that you need in life to be content and happy. I don't see many people in that boat, to be honest. I find people that may find, you know, consolation in some of the writings, in some of the texts. And this, you know, this is good. You know, this is completely their choice. I've got nothing against it. But I do still have to question it. You know, he sent his son, his one and only son, to save us for our sins. You know, even this story, in school I remember it really, really well. You know, they ride on a donkey and they have to go and they're looking for somewhere to stay, but all the hotels are full and they can't get in, so they can stay in the stable. And that's where she has the baby. But not only just someone that needs to get somewhere and have the baby in comfort, this is someone who is a virgin. Okay. A virgin who is pregnant with a child, who is married. So she's married, so she's got a husband, and they've never had sex because she's a virgin, and she's pregnant. And he's all right with that. I don't know anybody whose wife that they have married and haven't had sex with would probably find it okay and be really cool about it that his wife was pregnant and not have any questions about that whatsoever. Maybe he knew something I didn't, but I think most people around the world would agree that if it was their wife, they'd be royally pissed about this. So there's the you know, another thing that I always kind of questioned But you know, the Bible itself, the book itself, it does have a lot of false promises and a lot of false claims. And people say that this is okay because the ancient texts, you know, they're not perfect. But we have to follow this. People make it their life's duty to follow this. Then we've got God. You know, we are convinced there's an invisible man who oversees everything in the world, a world that he created, no doubt. That's a bit of a big pill to swallow, that somebody's not there and they're invisible and they're watching over you all the time, and if you don't do good again, you know, off you go to hell when you die. Been a bad person because you didn't believe in him. And not only that, the fact that he's made out to be a man, well, I find that hard to believe as well. Why a man? Why not a woman? Why not an entity? Why not an energy? Why not an all-powerful being? Well, it seems to me that this suited the purpose of the whole story, because people could, in their mind, imagine that a man was in charge. And it seems to be that for centuries afterwards, the whole powerful control of mankind has been under the power of men. The very same men that also told you you need to worship God. So I have some questions about that. You know, there's no proof that he is a man, for a start, if he even exists, because there's no evidence either that God exists. Does it just fill the void of our questions? Is it just that us as human beings may be a weak creature deceived by those in power, need to have the answers to why we are here, who we are, what our purpose is? Yeah, I've got all those questions as well. But when somebody comes along and tells me it's God or it's Jesus Christ, I do have these questions, and I do need these questions answering. And if he was so powerful, if he was so great, if he was able to do everything that he's done, then why wouldn't he make an appearance? Why wouldn't he come back? Why wouldn't he come down and say, hey guys, you're fucking this up. This isn't what we wanted. We wanted you all to live in peace. You're all killing each other. You're all being horrible. You're creating wars. There's greed. There's this, that, and the other. And there's many out there who are going to say, oh yes, but these are the sins of man, and we must live by these sins to learn. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. Because you still haven't proven to me that God exists. You still haven't proven to me that Jesus exists. But it's a nice thing for the churches to hijack. The churches that are very, very wealthy on the back of the people that they say have to repent. Very wealthy on the backs of those who live in fear of going to hell because you're not a good person and you do not worship. Well, that to me is not enough. We've got the Vatican, the Pope in his Gucci slippers, sitting on gold chairs, probably the most wealthiest small principality of its own right, exempt from the laws of the country that it resides in, guarded by Swiss guards, telling everyone in the world that they need to give them money, while the people on the steps who are poor will give the last change in their pockets because of faith, because of what they believe. Does that sound like a loving, caring system? Have the churches just hijacked it for their own purposes? Was it a way of controlling people? And has it been a way of controlling people? I don't know. I just need to ask these questions, because to me, it doesn't smell right. It doesn't sit right with me. And people are probably pulling faces now saying, you just don't know, you don't understand it. Well, if you understand it, put the put the questions to me. Tell me why. Tell me what I'm missing here. A lot of friends are highly religious. I've seen a lot of friends turn to religion recently. But I do not get it. I do not understand it. What do they get out of it? Comfort of some kind? I don't know. Is it something that releases the soul? Because I see a lot of people that follow religion who have been poor and miserable, but they'll still go to church every Sunday. So, you know, the stories as well that we're seeing seem to match a lot of ancient religions, a lot of ancient ways, a lot of myths, a lot of folklore, and even stories of the gods with stars. People are screaming at me now, saying, oh, you're worshipping false prophets. No, I'm not. I'm looking at ancient history. I'm looking at stories of old ways that actually match perfectly, preceding when the Bible was written. And it's almost like these stories were taken and used as part of the Bible to convince people. So if this is the case, why do these stories match so well to the stories of the Bible? You know, there's talk that the sun arising around certain dates is the actual equinoxes. You know, we've seen stories from ancient Egypt that mirror things of the Bible. And again, these are questions that we need answering. You know, so a lot of people seem to think that Jesus Christ is coming back to save them. A lot of people put a lot of faith in them. Are we just giving away our power in the hope that somebody else is going to come and save us? And if he does, and people laugh when I say this, if he does come back, I'll get him on the podcast. We'll do a fantastic interview. We'll have a good talk. I'll find out where he's been, and we'll straighten all this shit out. We'll get to the bottom of it, no doubt. But, you know, for him to come back when everything turns bad, you know, I'd also be more impressed if he came back before everything went bad. You know, somebody all powerful sitting there with his son. Hey, son, listen, it's getting fucking messy down there. Do us a favour, hop down, sort these fucking idiots out. Tell them to stop fighting each other. Tell them to stop the war. You know, make it so people can live in peace and harmony. But also, you know, prayers as well. A lot of people pray because they're suffering. They get down on their knees and they pray, and they go to church and they pray, and they want the best in life. They don't want to be sick. People, good people who may be dying of cancer, people who are suffering the illnesses of the world, who don't deserve to, people who are living in abject poverty, hunger, starvation. Hi, how are you? People that don't deserve to suffer. But at the end of the day, they are suffering, and they pray. The prayers aren't answered. So if you pray and your prayers aren't answered, why do people continue to have such faith in something that doesn't help them? And you're probably all screaming, well, it doesn't work like that. Well, I want to know how it works. And if you're out there and you can explain to me the flaws and the problems that I'm seeing within this, then maybe it's about time that we did. So let me know. There's comments below on the YouTube video here. And other than the comments below, you can probably go ahead, and if we posted this on social media, then you'll be able to comment on the social media and explain to me. But don't come to me quoting chapter and verse about things, trying to make me interpret what a book tells us. I want people to come back with hard facts, evidence, unbiased, unaltered, unchanged, evidence that can't be denied. And once I've seen that evidence and I understand exactly what's going on, and I can't question it any further because it's so undeniable, then maybe I'll join you and maybe we can change the world. But up until that point, I'm just trying to change the world on myself. I'm trying to change things to help people out there. I'm trying to make people see what's going on in the world. I'm trying to warn you. But because maybe I don't follow the same beliefs as you, that must make me a bad person. And because I don't worship the same way as you, maybe I'm going to hell too. So, let me know. This is me signing out. That's religion. I've still got a lot of questions about it. So take care, everyone, and be good to each other. Thank you very much.